realized I have become exactly my mother, So the further I ran away from something which I didn't need to run away from, actually.
If you realize that it doesn't have the usual notes that are needed for a big budget film, you make it accordingly and it gets made.
Please voice your opinion, what you want to see, what you support.
It made me fat.
Expecting a business to be madly obsessed with art is already insanity.
It was made at a time when there was a risk-taking appetite, and I think that's kind of like been a little bit pulled back.
This is the first film which has gone to a lot of festivals I've been visiting. I had some makeup help. I'm dressed up. So definitely feeling younger.
And she said, "You will be the main actor."
It was cathartic because I actually put out a lot of me, my childhood, my trauma, my shame.
Wonderful moderator and that's fine. It's a long table. May I also invite the winner of the best film, which was Homebound, which is going to release next month. So please come and watch that film again with your friends. Neeraj, Ghaywan. The winners of our Equality in Cinema Award, Jim, Tillotama and Tanushree Das. Their film is called Baksho Bondi, Shadowbox, which was our opening night film. A warm welcome to them. The winner of...
Actually, it had been a week for these last few days.
Okay.
It was not
Swati,
real.
come. The winner of our best series, sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm going in a very random order. The winner of our best series, Black Warrant. And can I please request Vikramaditya, Motwane, and Swati to please come, the producer. May I please invite the winner of our best actress had to leave because she had a shoot. She only came for one day. That was Nimisha for Dabba Cattle. But we are very lucky to have Jaideep, who won the best actor. So please. I also discovered what a great dancer he is today. The winner of our best actress for the wonderful film I forgot. Angamal. I need sleep, I'm so sorry. Angamal, Geetha, please come. And the winner of our best actor, which is, of course, none other than Abhishek Bachchan for the film I Want to Talk. And, of course, the winner of the best indie film, that was Angamal, the director Vipin. And we need a chair. Sorry, we need a chair. I'm so sorry. There it is. I'm so sorry.
Scoots a little, yeah.
Sorry. Rajeev, don't fall off the stage. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, over to you, Rajeev. Thank you. Oh, and as always, please keep your questions to the end and wait for our volunteers to come to you with the mics. Thank you. Oh, sorry. I've got perimenopause brain. Anyway, the winner of the special mention for the best actor, beautiful Gugun, for the beautiful film Bong. I said the best for the last.
Yeah, make a bigger circle. Make a bigger circle.
Okay, first of all, congratulations, gentlemen, ladies, for the incredible films and the shows that you've made. Every single one of them made us either laugh or cry. Some made us laugh and cry, and just made us feel. And I think that is the success of any amazing material, that you transport us to a different world and you make us feel something, right? Okay. Because we have storytellers and we have actors, I'm going to keep this a little bit more generic rather, and I don't think you'll have all seen, so I won't be very specific. I thought, let me start by asking a question that everyone can answer. What was it, and maybe everyone be brief so we can get a few questions in. What was the one thing about this show or this film when it came to you, or when you came to it, in the case of the storytellers who perhaps wrote it themselves, what was it that made you go, I want to do this, I want to spend the next 6 months or the next year, or in some cases the next couple of years doing? What was it? What was that one thought that made this difficult to say no to? Vic, you want to start?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. The series Black Warrant is based on a book called Black Warrant. It's written by Sunil Gupta, Sunetra Chaudhary, and it's the memoirs of a jailer, and the most unlikely jailer who ever got to Tihar. He is a Gupta ji who he had no other job option. He got this job. He was dismissed by the SP, who said, you're not fit for this job, you have to be a jailer. He comes out and he meets this one gentleman who gets him his job, whose name was Charles Sobraj. And that's within the first 3 pages of the book. And I'm like, I'm hooked right now, because this is a true story of how this guy got this job. And it just got better and better and better. And, so yeah, within those first 3 pages, I was like, man, I got to make this. So
Swati, for you, the same show?
Yeah, actually, like Vikram said, the minute we connected, I think it took me a day to read the book. And I think Vikram had written the broad story, and we were just hooked. We had to do this. This was a bold story, an unlikely story, Indian jails, a lot of those questions, but I think the story was so good. Yeah. And I said this yesterday as well, fact is stranger than fiction. So that's what attracted us to partner with Vikram on this.
Okay. Abhishek, for you?
That was my reason.
So I can be frank too.
Yes.
I've been acting only for 4 to 5 years, okay? And that was my first lead film, Angammal. And I got into it because I was going to be filmed, number one. And number two, as I started acting, I forgot that I was being filmed. So maybe that's why I'm here.
How lovely. Jerry?
First of all, I'm thankful that I got the chair here. I didn't get the chair there. I can talk about Patal Lok when I first read it. Because before that, I was in the industry for like almost 10 years. And there was no script. Generally, it comes to you, you are either, part of it or you are the villain of the story. Here, this long story of 8 hours, and it's written that it's on your shoulders somehow. So I always say this, I was the luckiest actor, one of the luckiest actors that day in Bombay. That story came to me. Nobody can say no to it. Nobody. And I had always thought like that those first 30 seconds when I finished the reading, the first thought, if I do this right, it will reach to the people for a longer time. And if I failed, it will take another 5 years for some Sudeep Sharma to believe in me.
Right.
Yeah.
How lovely. Jim, you produced, you're one of the producers of Baksho Bondi. Why was that something that you felt you had to do?
Yeah, I guess the most honest answer is that a friend came to me with the project, and I was not that close to Tanushree and Somo, but we had spoken a lot before, and I had followed their work as well. Tanushree as an editor and Somo as a cinematographer. So I guess the the first answer is friendship, and Tillotama, of course, was already attached to it as Maya. And then, however, friendship is not enough to produce a film usually. So the script was also really, really good, and I was such an admirer of all of their work separately. That's basically why.
Okay. Vipin, you directed Angamal.
Angamal. So it's an adaptation of a short story by Perumal Murugan. So I read it during COVID, like 2020 or something. So at that time, I mean, that is the basic inspiration behind this film. But one more thing, this story was written in like late 90s or something. But at that time with Netflix and everything, this woke culture was the in thing. Yeah. So I thought this guy has written something not realizing and which is still relevant. So that is the basic idea behind making this film. And one more thing, as a struggling filmmaker or upcoming filmmaker, we will always have many stories to tell.
Right.
Over the years, like 10, 15 years struggling in the industry. So whichever project get funding, we'll do it. Right. So that's the thing.
Tillotama?
Abhishek. Huh? For you, Abhishek. Thank you.
One coffee is good.
Yeah. I was just saying, excuse me, I'm jet lagging very badly, so I was going to ask him. Let them.
Okay. We'll come back to Abhishek. Tillotama?
So when Tanushree and Somo, I didn't know them, but when Naren, our main producer, sent me the script, he said that I just want your feedback on the script. So I was very candid about my feedback because I loved it so much. You only engage with something critically if you like it, right? And after I gave my feedback, then they said, oh, we would like you to be an actor on the film. So I wouldn't have been so candid had I known that was coming. But the reason the script grabbed me so much is because one is aware of the immense love and gratitude one feels for one's parents, but you are usually not able to articulate it in your lifetime. And these feelings are very retrospective. But when I read the script, I really felt that this was one way of me saying thank you to our mothers, who do so much to just keep us going at such huge personal cost, that it was really inspiring to be a part of a story like that. Yeah.
You, of course, directed Baksho Bondi.
Yes, this is my directorial debut, and I directed it with my husband, cinematographer, writer, producer of the film. So it's a family business, babysitter. Yes, true. Yeah, and like my French co-producer, she said, okay, if you made that baby, you can make the film. But having said that, I think it took us 10 years from starting to write the film to finally finishing the film, and I think we kept going. And the reason we made the film is because it's the story, the people who inspired the story, they don't stop. And they kept us going. Yeah. And that gave us enough inspiration to sort of keep going and make the film. So, yes.
Neeraj, you directed Homebound, wrote and directed.
Yeah. Homebound is based on this true story, the article for which was written by Basharat Peer for the New York Times. And when this story was introduced to me by Somen Mishra, our producer, something spoke to me very deeply. First of all, I think a lot of our Hindi cinema films, I think the heartland is gone. We are only making films about the urban youth or the small town. Heartland is relegated to, I don't know, maybe TV shows or something. And I felt that a large part of India is neglected. So that was one appeal. Secondly, it's a story of friendship. Contrary to popular thought that it's a queer film, it's not. It's a deeply moving friendship film. And with that, I think what happened to me while writing, and it took me about 2.5 years or 3 years to write it, was the first time I've done writing myself. And also it was like that commercial where this family gets a faucet to an architect and says, build a house around this. So it was like that because I had an end of the story, which was then I had to build a whole world around it. So I deep dove into myself. I think it was extremely challenging. And as cliche as it may sound, but it was cathartic because I actually put out a lot of me, my childhood, my trauma, my shame. So all of that went in. So yeah, it's been like I can't separate myself from the film because so much of it is like we filmmakers. I think our films are an extension of who we are.
Gugun?
Back to 2022, our director, Bung director LP came to Manipur, a small state in India, and wanted to cast some people for her movie. And one of her team were my mom's cousin, and she suggested me, and I went to the audition. And when I came there, it was a different language. But after that, I was talking with Ma'am LP, and we were starting to get closer and started to become friends. And she said, "You will be the main actor." I had no options. In the Bung movie, I had a lot of hard work, and it was pretty difficult because it was a different language, and I had to by heart learn a new language. So it was sometimes very frustrating to get into it. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Abhishek, you want to take it?
Yeah. I love the story. When Shujita told me about the story, like I said last night, over here in Melbourne over dinner, about Arjunda, I thought he was a very inspirational character. It was a story which I felt should have been told. I loved the bond that Arjunda had with his daughter, and I think that kind of mirrored in my life as well, because I have a young daughter. And so those emotions appealed to me, and I just felt this was a story that we should put out there. We live in very dark times, and what I liked about Shujita's approach is he says something with a lot of gravitas, but he says it with a huge smile on his face. And I thought that was a nice way to give out a message of hope and inspiration and about a never say die attitude, and I loved the way he wanted to say it. So those were the reasons.
Okay. You know, whoever wants to take this, I'd say that what is sort of common to the shows and the films that you've made, and I think that's even true of Black Warrant and Patalok, which is what, and I want to talk, which is what is already out there and we've already seen. The others perhaps have not yet, are still doing the festival circuit, are still going to be. Is that none of these projects, none of these films or shows are what one would describe as a sure thing, an easy sell, either to the streamers or to the theaters. How hard is it to sort of stick one's neck out and say, I'm going to do this, I want to do this, and really maybe just let's be candid and speak about how hard it is to make independent productions and to tell stories that are not a sure thing anymore. Even with Abhishek, even with the storyteller, mainstream Abhishek, your film is not unlike the mainstream films that you do. How hard, or I don't want to put words in your mouth. What is it like trying to tell a deeply personal story which is not ticking multiple boxes, firing on all cylinders? What is the current climate like?
Okay, so in the case of Black Warrant, it was made with applause, and applause is outside the system in the sense that we produced it, Andolan and Applause produced it, and then took it to Netflix after. We showed them a couple of episodes, and then so yes, the risk is to be able to say you're going to spend multiples of money to be able to make this without actually having a streamer attached to it. It takes a lot of courage, and thanks to the team at Applause and Sameer and Deepak especially. And I think I don't want to speak for Jaydeep, but I know that Sudeep with Patalok, for example, and Patalok and Jubilee and a lot of the early Amazon Prime shows were made in a very different era. Yeah. It was made at a time when it was Aparna's time at I don't think she's here, but best exec ever, seriously. Yeah. And it was made at a time when there was a risk-taking appetite, and I believe, and I think that's kind of like been a little bit pulled back, curtailed. in the post-pandemic era, which is, right now people are still sort of figuring where it is. They want growth, they want subscribers. There is a stock price to be able to maintain, and so we're in the lower risk kind of time. So in this time, it takes in our case an applause. In Patalok's case, the fact that it's a continuing series that's been supremely successful in its first season. Hopefully, we can sort of do this, but. I mean, I'm not going to lie, man. It's tough for the industry out there. It's tough. It's tough even, I'm sure it was tough even for I Want to Talk to get made. I mean, you would probably know that.
Yeah. Tell us about that, Abhishek. I mean, this kind of film, I mean, were there just detractors telling you don't make this kind of film? And B, it went straight to streaming?
No, there weren't many people who told us not to make it. But I think if they know Shujita and my reputation, we're not really going to listen to many people. You have to, I think, somewhere also just believe in what you really want to do and say. Then figure out how to get it done. A subject like I Want to Talk does not tick your conventional commercial tropes that you would need. I have a slightly different take because I'll speak from my personal experience, which I'm sure other people have had different experiences. But if you want to say something which may be off the beaten track, if you budget it in that, keeping that in mind, it gets made. So the appetite for it is there. Releasing it is a whole different beast. Right. I think that's where the challenge is, which is what we had in I Want to Talk. We didn't really get the kind of showcasing that we had hoped for. So it released in theaters. And it didn't, I mean, we never expected it to be a 150 crore film. Right. But when a film like that doesn't get showcasing, the demand is there, but because the exhibitors haven't given it the showcasing, you have to then rely on the audience which is on your streaming platforms. Yeah. And thankfully, when it came out on Amazon, it did superbly for them. But we didn't really have that much of a problem making it. We made it intelligently, although we went abroad and shot it, but it was done frugally, I guess you could say. So if there is something that you really believe in and it's the content that you feel should be made, if you realize that it doesn't have the usual notes that are needed for a big budget film, you make it accordingly and it gets made. There are people out there who are willing to back smaller budgeted films. I think the challenge lies in releasing that.
Right. Maybe Vipin and Tanushree can answer. When it's also not in Hindi, how much harder is it? How much of a challenge is it? And will festivals and streaming platforms then be, continue to be the sort of safe space in the home? But more and more I hear that that's not necessarily true where the streaming platforms are concerned.
The thing is, what Abhishek was saying is exactly the problem we are facing. The hardest task is distribution. Right. So to crack that, I feel from my experience, small experience with the festival circuit with this film is that serious conversation has to happen based on that. Like making film is the easiest thing now. Right. Anybody can make film, but how to distribute it, and each film have their own audience, even if it's like 1,000 whatever, according to the budget, how to reach them. So OTT, everybody knows it's not the best time for OTT right now. But if you, when I think who is making money out of it, distribution thing, who is making money out of it, maybe something has to be done about it. Like big filmmakers, producers have to seriously, even government, because we are paying tax to government also. Serious discussion, and it can be easily cracked. I don't know how. Experienced people should crack it. Then it will be much more viable because lots of great films are. Even I personally saw many films. So yeah, distribution is the thing, and we are trying to crack it anyway.
Yeah, for a subject like what we were dealing with and how we wanted to do it, even though we have murder and mystery, but we turned around those tropes to do a different kind of drama. And but I think we also faced problem in the beginning as to how to even make the film. But then I think Naren Chandravarkar, who is the main producer, he came up with a very interesting plan as to how to produce this film. So we have 20 producers and 3 executive producers. producers. Vikram is one of them, actually. Jim is one of them. Nikhil is not here. And there are 20 producers and co-producers. So what they tried to do is they sort of mitigated the risk. And so that nobody suffers, we can still make the film, and then we are also now slowly moving towards trying to find distributors, trying to find OTT platforms, because again, even with OTT, it's a certain kind of content that's encouraged.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because when we go to festivals, we meet people who are watching these films, loving these films. We keep getting messages as when can we see your film, where can we see your film, but we don't have answers yet. And I think I agree with everybody here that conversations have to be taken to the next level.
Oh, one more thing I have to add.
Yes.
I feel collaboration is another thing, because for our film we are going to theatres, and one of the biggest production houses in Kerala and Tamil Nadu are supporting us.
Right.
So that kind of, they don't have to, but they are because they believe in the film and they are supporting it. So that kind of collaborations might help, you know.
Right. Neeraj, you made Homebound within the system, so to speak. You made it at Dharma Productions. You went from indie sort of Masand, sort of scrapping together the funds to working with a big banner. What does Homebound need to achieve for more studios of that size to invest in and believe in the sort of smaller indie, more personal kind of films?
Let me go back to Masand a bit, sorry. Masand was an Indo-French co-production. There were 3 French companies, 3 Indian companies, and it is very difficult to do co-productions. I mean, the paperwork itself took a year and a half. And I didn't want to go through the same process again. Because we honestly, we don't have the kind of funding for independent-minded films anymore. We don't have. We just have the goodwill of some producers, financiers, individual financiers. And I mean, Karan and I always had this bonhomie, and he's been wanting to work something with me, and I've been wanting to do. So there was this thing where I was going to make another biopic with them, but that didn't turn out. But with this, I must applaud the way Dharma has gone about it. And it is, sorry to say it for my own film, but it is genuinely path-breaking to see a big commercial out the studio like Dharma Productions making a film which is extremely unlikely of what I think is the most unlikely Dharma film that you'll ever see. I mean, there are no songs in the film. Okay, there are no designer wear, there's nothing, and it's hard truth the way it is. And to back that, I mean, Karan has been there every step of the way, and there is zero involvement. In the sense, like, there is zero meddling. There's always support. And also, I was very cognizant about how these kind of films ought to be made in a certain budget. You can't go overboard because you have to get the returns for the film. So that has been, I mean, I tried something where maybe we don't have to go co-productions. Maybe there is some support from our local producers, the big banners, who can come in and who can offer a support for good stories, you know, for stories that they want to be part of it. Like, and also, you know, it's a little frustrating because this pressure of this 100 crore and, you know, how even audience is now talking only about the numbers. Yeah. You know, no more are people talking about, oh, I love this film, regardless of what it did at the box office. But that has percolated into audience talking about it. It is genuinely frustrating to see that where else do we stand? Like, what do we do? How do we prove ourselves? You know, probably festivals like these are something that maybe we get some kind of recognition, but we are also jostling for like 1 screen, 2 screen, even if it put out. So I thought that, okay, let me try this model and let's see how it works.
Interesting. You know, to the actors, I want to ask to each of you, how did playing this particular character change you in any way, if it did? Tillotama, you want to go first?
Because it was a 7-year journey, the change was inevitable. I aged. It started pre-40s and then it went on to by the time we shot, I was in my mid-40s. So yeah, perimenopause, me too, menopause, all that happened. And with that verge of sanity and insanity that you're balancing when your body is going through these monumental changes, you lose some and you win some. And I think one of the things that I won during this time was a deep sense of appreciation for my mother that I always had. But I think doing the film just underlined, and not just my mom, the incredible women in my life, the way I've seen them, the way I've seen them go above and beyond to do so much and yet not make it look like they're doing much. And it was really transformative to actually step into the shoes of a mother, given that I'm not one, was very, very transformative, because I always thought I'm not going to be like my mother. And people would say, oh, you look so much like your mother. And I'd be like, absolutely not. And I'm going to have my own identity, and I'm going to work, educate myself, and do the things that my parents couldn't do. I want to redefine myself, and I want to be something else. And in doing the film, and after I saw the film, I realized I have become exactly my mother, So the further I ran away from something which I didn't need to run away from, actually. It's something I'm very proud of, and I acknowledge that, and the film helped me acknowledge that, And
it's such a beautiful performance. Geetha, Jerry?
Sorry, Rajeev, can I just...
Yes.
I just want to add some really quick thing to what she just said, because the same thing happened to me, because for all my life, actually, I've been struggling with identity, more so my Dalit identity. How do I do it? What do I do it? And for 30 odd years, I've been masquerading as someone I'm not, right? Through this film, I thought of doing the same thing to something that I hate, something that I'm ashamed of. Maybe let me put it out there and make that shame belong to a lot of people, then I feel less. So I'm sorry, I relate.
Yeah, I'll go from what Tilo just said. I've been feeling younger because this is the first film which has gone to a lot of festivals. I've been visiting Film Festival Kerala and Mumbai, and I had some makeup help and dressed up. So definitely feeling younger that way. But then I did a role of a mother, and people who watched the film have been telling me that either in Kerala or Mumbai, not heard the Melbourne opinion yet, and they could see their grandmothers in me. Despite different cultures, one surprise comment I heard was, I repeatedly, because I'm a late starter, I've been repeatedly doing only mother roles, okay? So I'm a very popular Kollywood mother now. And that's what the press is saying. But then again, this was another mother. The title itself is Angammal. But then when I heard this, it was very good that they could identify, they could see their roots in me, despite different places and languages. And I'm feeling like an actor now. Yeah.
Jaideep, how did Hathiram Chaudhary change you? Both, yeah?
Huh?
Yes. How did...
I forgot your question, sorry.
How did this part change you in any way, if it did, playing this role?
Physically, obviously, I put on about 20-25 kilos, which was a lot of fun. Losing it was not fun. But I think emotionally it kind of hit home a lot. I think the most beautiful thing about what we as actors do is we're not really invested in the writing process. I'm sure some actors are if they write their own scripts. So we come on after somebody's already put in the emotional work. So we're very disconnected with it in that sense. We don't take it personally. Then when you read it and you come on board is when you kind of adopt those emotions that have been written for you and you make them personal. That journey is very sacred, I think, for an actor. And if we manage to do that, I hope and I pray magic happens. And I'd like to think that's why, directors cast actors, because they have the ability to take something that may be not their own and kind of just take it over and make it their own, and then hopefully some magic happens. And I think that's what, maybe a bit too elaborate a way to say, but I think that I'd like to believe that's why most actors do what they do, because that process is very, very rewarding. Once you've shot a scene and the director says cut and that's okay, and you feel somewhere, okay, I gave it my best, and it's something that's transformed you and moved you emotionally, it's a feeling which you cannot really describe, and it's nice because it's a bit of a collaboration of two emotions. Getting to portray this character, live out his frustrations, and through that and through example, give hope to so many more people, is something that really touched me. I mean, this morning I actually spoke to Arjunda, who was on a flight last night, so he was keeping his Wi-Fi on, and Shujita was sending him updates, and he was very happy, and he's actually in Mumbai today. And so I said, I keep forgetting, because in the film, if you see the film, the character is given 100 days to live, and his daughter inspires him to stay alive, because she says, if you die, who's going to dance at my wedding? His daughter was 3 years old, and Raka, who's his daughter, is 31 today. And he's still alive. He's had 30 surgeries. Being Bengali, and which Tilly will know, and a lot of people, is, being educated is a very major requirement for your family. So obviously she grew up, went to high school, then she said, Baba, I want to go to university. So he was like, okay, it means so she's like, what are you figuring out? So he said, I'm figuring out how do I stay alive for 4 more years, because then you'll go to college and then you can get married. So then obviously she finished college, and she came to him and she said, I'm very happy I've graduated. So he was relieved, because now I don't need to find a jugaad to stay alive. And she said, I want to do my master's. And so he was saying, okay, but before my master's, I'd like to take, I have to do 1 year of work experience. So now he's calculating, what all do I need to do to stay alive? And when we were shooting the film, he came on set. It was the first time I met him, and after I got to know him, one day he looked a bit depressed. So I said, Arjunda, what happened? She's finished her master's, and now you should be very happy. So he said, no. I said, why? He said, no, she wants to do a PhD now. And it's like the Bengali in me is not allowing me to say, okay, no. He's like, no, go do it. That's when I told him, I said, have you ever thought of the fact that maybe she's just doing it because she doesn't want you to? And so this morning I asked him, I said, so how many days has it been? He said, well, she's finished her PhD, now she wants to do a double PhD. So I left it at that. But it's just such a wonderful story that this man is just looking at different ways, and his only dream, and he's been a very successful advertising executive, his only dream is, I want to dance at my daughter's wedding. And she's not allowing him to. And I think that's just so beautiful. And that's an emotion which somebody else wrote in the book, then Ritesh and Shujit adapted it, and then I came in, and then you get to inhabit that and say that. And it's wonderful. And I really hope my daughter's not so educationally inclined, because I can't wait to dance at her wedding, if she'll have one. I mean, I don't know, this younger generation is but no, they're different, right? They're like, we don't care about these things. But so you come in, and I think that's what really changes you, and hopefully that's where some magic happens. So yeah, I hope many such stories get told. And that's what happened with me. Jaideep ji, aap abhi boliye, please.
He's saying I'm not an actor.
Not today.
I don't know
How did playing Hathiram Chaudhary change you?
So it made me fat, very fat, slow, body cramps, body joint pain, snoring, night. Yeah, it's snoring becomes now it's not going anywhere. Hathiram went, that snoring stayed. Sleep talk. I don't know. It started during that time. I didn't know. I still don't know, but people talk. And it made me little rich also. It
unique sort of perhaps vantage point where you're a working actor most days of the week, and then you come in and put your strength behind a film like Baksho Bondi because it's a story you want to tell. I want to ask you whether it's given you an insight into into your job as an actor and choosing projects and sort of understanding, perhaps one for me and one for them. How does it change you in any way? How did this experience of coming in as a producer but being primarily an actor sort of educate you, change you?
Also Sabar Bonda, he's the producer.
Of course, yes.
I don't know if it has. I'm trying to think. I guess the reason to be a producer in any respect, and of course with the 20, 20 is a large amount. And even on Sabar Bonda, I came on really, really late. I think sometimes you can feel a little bit despondent or upset that the films you want to see aren't being made, right? And the films that are being made, you don't really want to see, or it's just not to your taste, or you would like a larger variety or a larger breadth, or you think that the human condition is more complicated than what is being represented all the time. And so then the only antidote to that, I guess, is being on the other side of it. So I don't know if it's taught me much in terms of what the projects I would pick. I think I would still pick similar projects that, again, based on the strength of the script and the possibility for the character or the possibility of getting rich. One of these three options. An ideal world is when all three align. Yeah. But yeah, Sabar Bonda is playing at the Melbourne International Film Festival. Are we allowed to talk about that? Me too. But of course, we're here for Baksho Bondi. Yes. Thanks to the IFFM. I think I would like to continue being on both sides of it. Of course, acting is still my main interest and main passion, and that's what I would like to spend more of my time with. But I do like this model as a way to come on with mitigated risk and still allow for the film you want to see to somehow get out into the world. It's basically just that.
To the directors and producers here, what needs to change, and do you see hope?
No.
I think I earlier spoke about how this obsession with numbers, where do we fit in? What do we do? Because any of the stories that we want to say, it's like there's no market for it. We've always thrown numbers, we've always thrown an algorithm saying the algo doesn't support to show this film. So where do we begin? Like I'm saying, like I said, there's no funding, first of all. There's world over, every country has proper government grants to make films. And they have international grants also, for which most of us Indian filmmakers do apply and become part of it, because I would hope to see more support from the government, and wanting to say also to support films that may not augur well with your own opinions. Even that should be able to thrive. That's what democracy is, that you should allow films that may not align with what you're publicly showing. So I guess that is one big challenge that I face. And also this notion about like you have to get a certain actor for it to be greenlit. That is such a challenge to do, because like you go with something that marries well with the character, that is very organic, but some of these choices ought to be like, for instance, if I can mention, like I made this short film on intersectionality of caste, gender, sexuality, all of those, and it was not okay to cast Konkana Sen Sharma, I think arguably the best actor in this country, and I had to go through multiple rounds, and eventually then it was accepted. So why is this whole thing about like casting a certain kind of actor? That is the challenge that I face.
So, sorry, I said no earlier, but I changed my mind. I was thinking about it for a few seconds. Okay. No, I was really thinking about it. I mean, you've made a film finally with Dharma that has gone to, which festival did you just go to? Cannes, right? Fucking incredible. And then, no, honestly, And we've made Baksho Bondi despite all of the thing of no, not Bengali, and no, not this, and no, not that. And it went to Berlin, and it premiered at Berlin, and here we are. And I Want to Talk isn't a topic most people would like to touch upon immediately, but that film has been made, and here you are, Best Actor, you know. And you've made a film, and you said that the studios that are supporting a small film no matter what, and your breakout thing was a deeply unsettling, a difficult to watch show about like male violence, you know, and somebody trying to weave their way through all of it. And the fact is, and you made Black Warrant without having an OTT on board. So the fact is, there are avenues, and there really is hope, and it does get made. You just have to persevere and keep trying, and it does eventually happen. So I think it's very easy for us to sit and say no, and the thing, and the OTT. It's like, but well, they're a business. I mean, what do you expect? Amazon delivers books. You know what I mean? It's a business. Expecting a business to be madly obsessed with art is already insanity. It's a stupidity. You know, the truth is like, we have to do that. We are the ones who have to do that, and we have to find our way to these people, and we have to find our ways to convince them, and we have to find the way to bridge the gap in any way that it might happen. So I actually think it's going to be fine, and we're going to find a way. And you know, yeah.
Well said. Vikram, do you concur?
I agree with you, and yes, it will be fine, Jim. But okay, reality. Vipin's still waiting for a release of his film. So are we. I Want to Talk, as Abhishek already said, struggled to get sort of distribution, and I think part of the problem is we need to separate in the industry production from marketing and distribution. These three things are right now all working within this single pipeline of a studio, and they're greenlighting films only on the basis of the fact that who's cast in the film. Right. And therefore, it's a low-risk thing for them to do, to be able to say, oh, you've got this actor, therefore we can do it, therefore this is the number, therefore this is the music, therefore this is the distribution strategy. These three things need to be separated completely. Every film cannot be marketed the same way. It's not possible to market every single film with a trailer and 3 songs. It doesn't happen. You can't release the film the same way. And I think one of the biggest learnings that we saw was last year when All We Imagine Is Light, when one sat with Rana and sort of spoke to him, and the data that he threw out about saying this film worked specifically really well in these areas because of these reasons. No one's doing that data work in distribution for the indie work. So if we want the indies, I mean, and I'm not saying indies in the sense of like art movie, I'm saying indies even in terms of genre movies. I think that there is a way that we need to start looking at the industry, looking at distribution and marketing very differently from the way we look at it right now. It's not sustainable beyond a point. If your executives at your streamers are people who are, and at studios are people who are only interested in keeping their jobs and making sure their salary goes up 10% every year, we're going to go down a very, very bad path because they are not interested in greenlighting anything that we do at all. I'm also saying maybe it's okay, pessimistic outlook, but that is the reality. So unless we sort of like genuinely go out there and you're right, fight for it. We have fought for it, and we're constantly fighting for it. But I do think that many of us are coming from a place of privilege or experience, in the sense that we can go and get things greenlit because we have 10 years of experience behind us. Totally. Vipin doesn't. So he's made the film, and then what? And I think 10, 15 years ago, pre-pandemic, there was a very robust place for indie films to actually thrive and survive. I grew up on that. My entire career has been made on that. So was Anurag, so was Shujita's. I think that, but that's missing today. And yes, we have to find another path. And part of it is about sort of like breaking it, making it, and sort of like doing it ourselves. And if we don't, then I don't think anybody will. No one's going to do it for us.
I don't think so.
That's just the...
Yes, same thing with what Jim...
Do you think that the model of, you know, the star system alone, handling your P&A, essentially, which is that old term for publicity and advertising, print and advertising, just means marketing, essentially. Do you think that it is still working? What it appears to be like is I don't know, it's just not, it doesn't really work anymore either. So neither are really working.
No, it's not. The P&A system's not working. The distribution system's not working. There's the old sort of 850 screen thing. We're still working on a whole bunch of stuff. Our single screens are just lying dead in India for 32 weeks of the year because no one wants to there's a lot that needs to be done. It's a much longer kind of conversation. But again, and to the streamers, what's happening is that the ambition that they had when they first came in 7 years ago is completely gone. So if you look at all the new stuff being greenlit right now, there is very little ambition for newer things or fresher things to come out, to come out. And I swear, and to exactly to your point, because they're selling books, or I'm not anymore, they're selling groceries, they're not even selling books anymore. So it's not their real focus, and it's not. And even with a company like Netflix, whose real focus should be, because that's their day job. Their day job is making movies and series. And even within that day job, the fact of the matter is that you're constantly hearing the fact that it needs to go broader, more commercial. I mean, we're a country of like 40, I don't know how many different languages and how many, but we still want to make it's still the same one size fits all that we've been trying to do for like 100 years. And it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, But,
I mean, just adding to...
Sorry for the doom sort of...
Now, just adding to what Vikram was saying in response to Jim, like I do share your exuberance about how a lot of things are happening, but also because we have a seat at the table and hence we can negotiate. But what about those million filmmakers out there who cannot even get a foot in the door? So that is, for me, is the biggest challenge, because honestly speaking, like if I were a fucking nobody, I don't know if... And it's understandable that Dharma would not make the film. Like, come to think of it, why would they? So I was thinking about it, like how... So government funding was the only way for filmmakers to actually democratically go and make film. Because there is just like this grant, go apply. If your film... Like the CNC and a lot of funds abroad, that's how they're... We don't have those. That's what I was talking about here.
Yeah, and I'll just add to what everyone's saying. I think... films distribution, yes, there is. I would like to just speak a little bit about series, and everyone spoke about talent attached to it. In fact, what Vikram said, right? As applause, we're outside of the system. Yeah. We made 53 shows. We don't headline with top talent. We pick a story and invest in that story. That allows us creative freedom. I think that's how Black Warrant happened. Because there was a creative freedom that we could have. We could go with Vikram's vision, what he thought of it. I can totally imagine a script like Black Warrant on paper. It's hard to believe that, this is actually a young adult drama. It's the day job. It happens to be Tihar. Right? So those are the kind of lenses I think it allows us as studio to have unique positioning. I think more than headlining talent, it's about picking the right story, going after it, and we all end up at the streamer's door. So, the skin in the game becomes bigger because you really, really push for it to make good content. And you know what even Abhishek said, that there is a sort of frugality. Every show, every film will have its own budgets. And if we try to make it at the right price with the right intent, I mean, that's all I can say. And as the studio, we like to back pretty much all kinds of talent.
You're the only one in the market.
Yeah, that's true, that we are the only one in the market. I hope more studios and producers take that risk. Yeah.
I want to add a naive comment because I'm new in all this. I've been an editor, so it just like before. But what I really want to, and I genuinely believe in this, is that, platforms like this festival actually does a lot also. Like what he said, I'm also anonymous. I don't think Dharma will give me a project if I went to them before. But now look at this stage, and somebody like Meetu and her team and this festival decided that all these projects fit in together. And look at so many of you sitting there. I think audience plays a very important part in social media age. Please voice your opinion, what you want to see, what you support, because it really, really matters. Especially for languages which are regional languages in India, which are, like his film is Manipuri. I mean, communities should be supporting their projects, and it's not a small thing. One can be 1 can be 11, one can be 111. It goes on, Especially in the age of social media, I think it has a big place. I naively believe it. Otherwise, I won't be able to make films.
Vipin, do you want to add something?
I'm also learning this marketing distribution thing. So what Vikram sir said, I feel it should be separated from my experience. And one thing I've been questioning within our group, we are discussing, like, you look at all the big star movies and the amount of fund they put for marketing it. Right. Then why do you need this big star? Right. So, but nobody will put that kind of confidence in a good movie or whatever film. I feel anything can be sold in India if you market it properly. Any product can be sold with proper marketing. How good is the marketing in films? I don't know. Like what they follow, what structure they follow, I don't know. But that's what I feel. Like, look at the biggest of films like KGF, Bahubali. Yash was unknown actor in Kerala, but he's a super hit, like most collected movie in Kerala. So
changes everything. Yeah. I've been told not to hog this, so we'll open it out for questions. Guys, one question per person and keep it brief, please, so that we can get a few more voices in the room. Gentlemen here. Do you have a mic, guys? Yeah. Oh, you want to pass this one?
Who want to answer it?
Okay.
Thanks, James, for the mic. My question is to Vikram, sir. I met you around 2 years ago at the IFM when you were here with Anurag, sir, for Jubilee. My question is regarding Black Warrant and just the team around Black Warrant. What elements or what personal touch as the head of the show did you tell Zahan or Rahul sir to give to their characters to add a bit more of the grit and the violence, which was shown through a naive lens, through a young cop story? So what were some personal elements that you made sure?
Nothing. I just think you give them a script, you say do your homework, and you come on set. I mean, that's just, hopefully, I'll ask the actors.
If anyone else.
Hopefully that, look, I mean, in that sense, I think it's nuanced. You can't really sort of force someone to sort of like saying, ye karo, ye karo, ye karo. It's more about like, okay, a little bit of dialect work, a little bit of essentially trying to make them understand what Tihar is like. And I think that eventually what happens is the set in itself is a very magical place. Yeah. Once you've created that world where you've sort of like, if you've done your job right with your production design and everything like that, when you walk on, it is make-believe. You believe you're in that place. And a lot happens when you come on set from a filmmaker perspective, and I know from actors as well. Like the moment that, it changes, and I think that makes a big difference.
Thank you. Thank you. The second row. Me? Yeah. The lady. Just up here.
First of all, I'm just pinching myself right now because from the Hollywood Reporter India to Rajeev Masand's roundtable, I just can't imagine that I'm doing this live today. Thank you, everyone. My question.
Thank you, Mitu.
Yes, thank you to all the organizers. I am fond of each one of you, but my question is to Jaideep sir and Tillotama ma'am. I happen to be from the northeastern part of India, which is Meghalaya, Shillong. I just want to know, how was your experience shooting for Patal Lok in Nagaland? Did you face any particular challenges, and do you think that for these locations to come out more and to be able to be a part of mainstream filmmaking, what needs to change? And how was your experience shooting in the northeast of India?
See, all the problems, I think, the maker, the writer, or the team, the production team, they face more challenges than us, because when we reach, it's already done, sorted. As an actor, what do you feel? It's a very different terrain, of course, but in your mind, you have already fixed it that you're going to Kohima for a shoot. I'm sure when Sir was shooting Black Warrant, or the problems he faced, actors won't face that. What I really loved about that place, that I think Patal Lok was the first project which was actually, shot in that particular area. We were a little worried about the shoot, how it's going to be, because it's a long shoot there, 1.5 months, and huge sequences like that jail-breaking, hospital-breaking scene, which took like 4 to 5 days. But it was really smooth. the people were so amazing, so helpful, and the only problem is whenever we need to shoot the crowd sequences, so they don't know what to do in the background. So yeah, that's the only challenge. Otherwise, I don't think anything like really challenging for me as an actor there.
As an actor, the challenging thing was, of course, to learn the language, because I'm Bengali and I had to learn Nagamis.
You did it so well.
Thank you. I had a great teacher, Anungla.
Thanks. Please don't take my name. It's okay.
Anungla was the cultural sensitivity expert on the film, and Sudeep was so open and so non-egoistic. After success of a great show, I think that runs through the whole team, from Jaideep, Sudeep to everybody, the sense of warmth and inclusivity that they have. But it's very easy to ride on that success and then become close to outside opinion, right? But they were so open. In fact, Sudeep had given Anungla the power to say no to anything in the monitor that she thinks is culturally inappropriate in representing Nagaland. Even mildly offensive or inaccurate, even if it's aesthetically an amazing frame, the production designer, the cinematographer, everyone has locked a frame and it works, right? But then if Anungla said that, but this is inaccurate, it would offend this particular community because the shawl is incorrect, it's not from this tribe. Now you would say, Arey yaar, chodo na, we can take some creative liberty, right? It's cinema after all. Now, these are very valid arguments, I think, but I think the way Sudeep worked was so refreshing to see that even if it was annoying to have to make that change, he did it. And he gave her that power to do it, and it was a big learning for me when you asked how is it that we can have more shows represent the length and breadth of India and spaces that we don't often see in our cinema, and especially the Northeast. I think we can when the representation is inclusive of the people who live there. But if you're going to have an outside-in approach where you're going to come in as experts from Bombay, who and come to a space saying, "Aap logo ko kya pata hai?" Then that synergy won't happen. But Sudeep and his entire team and the whole cast, everybody came in with that sense of openness, and that's why I think it was, what it was. Yeah. ठीक है ना जयदीप भाई? हाँ? ठीक?
बिल्कुल एकदम
ठीक?
I'm Neeraj from South Asia Times. I read this story in Variety, that a movie is ending, is being changed and being re-released. What do people think about that? I think probably film Ranjana, probably. So would anybody comment on it? Thank you. Changing the end of the movie and re-releasing it.
They changed the end of Ranjana using AI. Ranjana. I think I've already said enough on social about it, so I'll leave somebody else.
I think it's deplorable, and can people do it? They have. I think sensitivity towards the makers should be shown. If they're okay with it, then we're nobody to argue. But I think the writer and the director should have some involvement and concurrence with what needs to be done, to take somebody's vision and hard work, blood and sweat, and to change it without their approval and consent, I think is deplorable. And I think it's important that we talk about it and make it known that we're not okay with this kind of stuff happening, because otherwise it's just going to, snowball into something which is going to be completely out of our control. Films are made with a lot of effort and thought. Yes, it is a commercial art. We do understand that there is a lot of commercial consideration that goes into making a film. But once a film is completed by the director and the writer, I don't think anybody should have any power over it to change it without the consent of the director and the writer.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Hi everyone, this is a lovely opportunity, so thank you for this. My question is directed to Jim, sir. If I may tap into your acting career today, if that's okay. My question to you is... I wrote it down. I wrote it down. So psychologically, Jim, so people who act out in harmful or destructive ways often believe they're justified in their choices. Do you consciously tap into that self-justification when you build a character? Essentially, do you humanize them for yourself, even when the audience might hate them?
Now just ask that question in English again, please. कुछ समझ में नहीं आया। नहीं? मुझे कुछ समझ में नहीं आया।
Sorry. फिर से करती हूँ।
साधारण भाषा में बोलिए आप, please.
Apologies.
तुम्हें समझ में आया? We're definitely not meant to be on this stage.
फिर से पूछती हूँ।
I got it.
Can you explain it to us first?
Yes. He's saying that the bad people do bad things and they think they are justified in their actions, and so do I use psychologically self-justification processes to understand a character that might...
Ma'am, आपका ही better था. What was yours? मुझे seriously कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. What's your homework when you play a villain?
Yeah.
हाँ, like I told you, we don't do all this. We just check आगे, हाँ, चलो आगे बढ़ो. काम ये लोग करते हैं, हम लोग नहीं.
Basically, the essence of what she's asking is,
Jim, you're going to be in serious trouble with me. Huh? You speak now understandable language, please.
Everybody thinks they're right, and everybody thinks they are justified. Whether it is even going on a shame spiral or thinking that you're the best person in the world, whatever it is, it's completely true for you while you do it. So when you respond to a situation, you respond to that situation based on everything that has come in your life up until that point, right? All the psychological factors and genetic factors that have resulted in you doing that thing that you're doing just now, right? So she's asking if I think about that for my character.
You want to be a psychologist? Or? You are a psychologist. And if you don't have the answer for that, then what are you studying?
The truth is, what he's saying is...
अपना phone number दे दो इसको. बाद में, how does that make you feel? Tell me, you all can sit down. Ma'am, we're actors. We act. What our directors tell us, we quietly do.
You have the blueprint. You have the blueprint. It's the lines. You have it. And then you have the director's additions to that, which is the tweaks on set. You just try to believe and embody that person who would say those words and do those actions. Really, it is that simple.
Meethu, do we have time for...
Just one more.
Okay, one more. This gentleman, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, there's Michael.
Make it count.
Thank you. Yeah. I have a question for Jaideep. आपका ध्यान नहीं था मैंने पकड़ना. आपने एक चीज़ बोली थी starting में that it took you 10 years before you saw success. So I guess my question to the panel is, in industry, अगर मैं profession की बात करूँ, if I compare acting as a profession to other professions, why does it take somebody like you, who's so talented, to take 10 years? If I compare to other, professions, जहाँ अगर आपके पास talent है, the time to success is much less. Because as an audience, we lost 10 years of not seeing you. So why there is no, I guess, LinkedIn for actors? I can go in and I see the, I can hire the top talent easily.
Actually, I don't know यार, सच बताओ ना, मुझे नहीं पता है. But वो सिर्फ एक्टर्स के साथ नहीं है, I'm sure बहुत सालों तक हमने देखे हैं. मैं फिल्म इंस्टीट्यूट से पास आउट हुआ हूँ. तो मैं एक्टर के साथ एक्चुअली ट्रेनिंग हुई थी एज अ फिल्म स्टूडेंट टाइप। तो हमने मेरे ही बैच के राइटर्स हैं, डायरेक्टर्स हैं, साउंड इंजीनियर्स हैं, एडिटर्स हैं, कैमरामैन हैं। आई थिंक सबको लग रहा है उतना साल, 8-10 साल सबको लग रहे हैं वहाँ तक पहुँचने में। लकी होंगे कुछ लोग जो एक दो साल में कुछ ऐसा मिल गया और आपको चांस मिल गया। बट मैं जेन्युइनली ये बात मानता हूँ कि ऐसा नहीं कि आपने नहीं देखा था बट उसका वो रजिस्टर नहीं हुआ इतना स्ट्रांगली। क्योंकि जब आपका कोई, फॉर एग्जांपल नवाज भाई हिट हुए, लोगों ने एक एक सीन निकाल के देखना शुरू किया फिर। और ऐसा नहीं उस वक्त उन्होंने देखा नहीं, उनको पता था कि यार ये अच्छा सीन क्या है, कौन है ये एक्टर, नाम जानने की भी जहमत नहीं उठाई होगी उन्होंने, आपने देखे होंगे। पर जब वो सब हम, क्योंकि एज ए सोशली हम एक्सेप्ट करना शुरू कर देते हैं ना कि अच्छा हाँ अब सबने देख लिया तो नाउ वी विल कि अच्छा ये अच्छा एक्टर है, अच्छा डायरेक्टर है, अच्छा कैमरामैन है, बड़ा जो भी है। बट सही बताऊँ तो मुझे भी नहीं पता कि इतना टाइम क्यों लगता है। मुझे लगता है कि थोड़ा पकने में लगता ही होगा सबको थोड़ा बहुत टाइम। नहीं, सब खुद भी तो नहीं समझ में। आई डोंट थिंक अगर मुझे कोई 10-12 साल पहले पाताल लोक दे देता तो मैं कर भी पाता, शायद नहीं कर पाता।
एक्टर को लगता है 15 साल
नहीं, वो ऐसा नहीं। तुझे क्या लगता है 55 साल का हूं मैं? नहीं, ऐसा नहीं। मतलब ग्रेटेस्ट एक्टर्स हैं 20-20, 25-25 साल में उन्होंने किया है। बट इट्स अबाउट द अपॉर्चुनिटी ऑल्सो कि कोई उस वक्त बड़ा रोल मिलता और किसी ने ठीक से संभाल लिया होता तो शायद उस वक्त। अभी देखो हमारा एक्टर कितना स्ट्रांग बैठा है वहाँ। आपको लगता है उसको 10 साल लगे यहाँ तक पहुँचने में? तो इट डिपेंड्स पर्सन टू पर्सन, और ना सिर्फ एक्टर्स, बाकी प्रोफेशंस भी।
Thank you for being an incredible audience. Unfortunately, we don't have the time, but congratulations to all the winners for all these amazing films and shows that you made. Thank you so much.
अभी यहाँ सारा मीडिया भी इंडियन मीडिया ना, इंडिया के ही लोग हैं, सबने कब्जा कर लिया इंडियन मीडिया। क्या मारने वाला